Good morning. It is Tuesday the 2nd of December. I'm just going to run through the structure for the WildHome Digital Cooperative. I've incorporated a company called the WildHome Digital Cooperative Limited. But what I'm talking about today is not the company, but the testnet. The testnet is a simulated environment where we can experiment with decentralized ownership of managing, running, making decisions for a cooperative housing partnership. The first document is the testnet structure V1, which is 3 pages. It gives an overview of how it works. There's an overview of what it hopes to achieve. It outlines the use of the WildHome token, which is called the WHT. It is a simulation of future cooperative ownership. So token ownership does not represent equity, but if the experiment is successful, then it could be converted or transferred to equity in the organisation. At that point, there would need to be legal agreements put in place to ensure that everything was above board. In the simulation, there are 100 symbolic shares represented by 100 WildHome tokens, and one token is equal to 1% of the simulated ownership of WildHome. But at the moment, they carry no ownership or profit rights during the testnet phase. The intention is to make a workable model that we can transfer to the mainnet. The initial allocation is 15% for the founding team and first strategic partner, which has already been symbolically allocated. And then there is 35% for the contributor pool, and 35% for strategic partnerships, and 15% for contingency left in reserve. It says 0 to 15% because if it's not needed, then it could be allocated to either the contributor pool most likely or the strategic partnerships pool. The point of the contributor pool is people who are working on the project who will then be allocated tokens based on their contributions. The strategic partnerships is other organisations that share similar values that can contribute to the project but would also benefit from the equity holdings if it was to become a mainnet network. These would be nature organisations, charities, housing charities, and yes, any organisation that is currently set up. There will obviously be a focus on social enterprises and charities, but it's open to anyone that would like to submit an application to be a strategic partner. Currently, voting rights are proportional to WildHome token holdings. If you hold WildHome tokens, then you can vote in any proposals about the direction the organisation moves in. So this is the decentralised management. The team structure refers to the contributor pool. This has been broken into 3 departments: build and land, people and place, and tech and systems. Each one gets 10%, and then there's a 5% contingency. We obviously wouldn't distribute this all at once. We would start very slowly. So maybe after 1 or 2 months of running the project, each team will have 1% to divide between the participants in each of those teams. Then at that meeting, we can decide how much equity is distributed at the following meeting. It depends on how quickly things are developing. Obviously, the quicker things develop, the quicker we will distribute equity. Fundraising and capital, I'm going to skip over this because this is a mainnet proposal that isn't relevant yet, but the general principle is that equity holders will be able to sell their WildHome tokens in exchange for cash and assets held by the Treasury wallet. That is the WildHome Digital Cooperative Treasury wallet. That is how people can realise value from their potential future equity. The WildHome tokens are then absorbed back into the Treasury and can be reissued as required. This will help keep a flow of ideas into the organisation and keep new blood and people who are interested in maybe taking the organisation forward in different ways. There are no open market tokens planned at all, either during the testnet or the mainnet phase. Finally, there's just a proposal on voting with a quadratic voting system. That's just a proposal. Currently, it is proportional to the WildHome tokens that you own. This is the phase 1 brief for the development of the token, which I'm speaking with blockchain engineers about developing this. From a legal point of view, the main documents are the WildHome Digital Cooperative Testnet Charter and the WildHome Collaboration Agreement. This sets out the responsibilities for people that want to participate in the testnet experiment, and it makes clear that, as currently designed, this is not committing to giving people equity in WildHome Digital Cooperative, but being a blockchain system, it would be a decentralised and democratic. If that proposal was voted on at a later date, then it could be transferred. The charter sets out the principles and a few of the details. Then the collaboration agreement is setting out people's agreement to participate along the principles set out in the charter. It's an agreement between the limited company that has been set up, which is acting as the administrative and legal host for the testnet, and the collaborator, who is the intern or the student or the person that is willingly participating in the simulated experiment. Then it sets out the nature of the collaboration, the rewards in the form of the WildHome token, but is not an employment agreement. Then intellectual property, confidentiality, duration, governance, legal status. That's just a couple of pages. I've tried to keep everything as short and concise as possible so that people can read through it and it's not too complicated, it's not too legal. But yeah, that's everything. Hopefully that's clear, but if you have any questions, please do get in touch with myself. Thank you for watching.